Hey YouTube, Grunt Reviews, back in the studio again, continuing on with our kind of run on Turkish import shotguns. This is our unboxing and tabletop on the Daly AR-12S. Guys, as always, go down below. Please hit like, subscribe, share us with your friends, drop a comment, and if you like what we're doing, I've got a link in the description. Feel free to buy us a coffee. Let's get into it. So you'll have to pardon the state of the box on this. This is how I received it from the local gun shop that I purchased this from. They had already assembled it. So like most of these imports, it does come in a very basic cardboard box. Inside of it, you do get a 5-round magazine. Looks to be the same as all of the other reviews we've done. Very similar to the ATI Bulldog magazine, just without the polymer on the front. You do get the standard set of Benelli Mobile or Beretta Mobile chokes, and you also get the choke wrench, and you do get an adapter as well. And this box out of the way. You do get, of course, the shotgun itself. My understanding is that the upper rail and iron sights and the forward iron sight do not come pre-installed, as most of these do not. He had it on display on the shelf, so that's why I'm assuming that it was bolted on there. Let's go ahead and get it up on the stand and take a look. So the AR-12S is a course chambered in 2 3/4 or 3-inch, and that is 12 gauge. It does have a little bit longer barrel than a lot of these. It is a 19 3/4 inch barrel, so almost a 20, instead of a lot of the imports tend to have that 18 or 18.5 inch barrel. It does come with a carry handle, and what I actually like is it is a usable carry handle. You can actually get your hand all the way in there. Also includes some iron sights with it. It has a flip setting on this, so it has a traditional ghost ring, and it also has a U-notch, as we'll call it. So depending on your preferred sighting system with the front sight, they do give you both options. And it is adjustable for elevation and windage as well. So if you were using this with slugs, you'd be able to dial it in just a little bit easier. And it just screws on, slides on and screws down with a single screw. The front sight includes 2 screws and just kind of clamps onto the barrel, and it is also adjustable for elevation. Does use a polymer handguard with some Picatinny rail on either side. They do give you a front sling mount and a rear, I'm going to call it a sling loop, if you will. Stock, all polymer, of course. They do give you the adjustable cheek riser that a lot of these are doing. What I do like about the Daly version is the cheek riser is actually usable, unlike some of the other ones. So once you get it up, it is actually very solid, does not have a ton of wiggle. That being said, for an AR platform, unless you were running a very, very tall optic on this, the cheek riser is a little bit unnecessary. I think that's something that they could have eliminated. Stock includes a small butt pad or rubber pad for recoil. Just attaches with a couple of screws, so this is something most likely you could replace with something a little thicker if that was your preference. As I mentioned, is all polymer. The grip itself is a rubberized grip with a single finger groove, kind of like an A2 style. It's a little thick, could use to be a little bit thinner. I do like that it is rubber, as that will help absorb some of the recoil of 12 gauge. Overall quality, it does feel somewhat inexpensive. I hesitate to use the word cheap, but looking at this, I have not taken it apart, but it does look like you could replace this with a standard AR style grip of your choosing. On the left-hand side, everything is going to be very, if you have an AR, it's going to be very, very familiar. So we do use a 90-degree AR style safety. We also have the traditional AR style bolt catch and an AR style magazine release. They give you a nice little cutout in the mag well for aesthetic purposes, but it does look kind of cool. Very standard AR style trigger. So nothing huge or massively different on this versus just a traditional AR platform. So if you're coming from one, very easy to get into something like this. Same manual of arms. Where we did run into an issue, this is the magazine that did come in the box, and when you go to insert it, you discover, as with a lot of the stuff coming out of Turkey, the tolerances are very, very tight. So when we hit our magazine release, it does not drop free, and we actually have to wiggle the mag back out of the shotgun. I did this a couple of times off camera, and you can see that it has taken some of the finish off of this. I do want to highlight something. I've got my 10-round Panzer Arms magazine. This one goes in with relative ease and doesn't quite drop free, but is a little bit easier to get out. So with a lot of these inexpensive shotguns, the trade-off you get, and as I highlighted in my Toros Cupola video, tolerances is where Turkey still has a little bit of a ways to go. So this magwell could use to be opened up a little bit to allow the magazines to drop free on their own. I'm sure if you took some time with some emery cloth or a file, you could make that happen. But in this case, the magazine is also out of spec as well. Tried this in another shotgun with very similar results. So the upside is these magazines are becoming very readily available, and they are interchangeable. So shouldn't be too difficult to source a replacement, but would be nice if they had checked that at the factory. One thing I did forget, underneath the handguard, of course, is some additional pick rail. So if you did want to mount a red dot sight to this or a low power optic, it definitely is possible. As always, we're going to pull out our Lyman digital trigger gauge and see how the trigger feels. All right. So, first pull, 7 pounds, 13.5 ounces. Second pull, 8 pounds, 6 ounces. And we'll get one more in here. 7 pounds, 6.5 ounces on the third pull. Now I will say the trigger on this is something that I actually do like, that they definitely did get right. It's a single stage trigger, no take up. You are basically right on the wall. Just a hair of creep and a brake. Reset, very positive feel. Nice audible click. Little bit of creep there. And a nice brake. So I really do think they did a good job with it. We don't have a ton of pre-travel or over-travel. And for the price point, MSRP on these is around 550 bucks. They did get the trigger portion right. There we go. And brake. Could still be improved a little bit, but same deal. We are in that $500 to $600 price range. And definitely does feel like it will be easily serviceable out at the range. Overall feel does actually feel very balanced, especially for a almost 20-inch long barrel. Would have been nice if they had done M-lock instead of Picatinny. I've got a little bit longer arms and like to get my hands out there a little further. And on the bottom would have been nice, same deal, either have some M-lock or a little bit of pick rail there if you did want to run a foregrip, a light, something of that nature. Overall, not terrible for the price range. Hoping to get this out to the range this weekend or next weekend. Put some shells through it, and of course we will use a variety of ammo as we always do. We'll see how it runs, and we'll get back to you. Guys, as always, I appreciate your time watching us. Thank you for watching. Stay safe, train hard.